What's up, everybody? I'm Alex Mendoza, local real estate agent here in Northern Nevada, and today I'm here with Jorge Montoya, also a local lender here in Northern Nevada. And today we're here to talk about 3 common questions that we often get from first-time home buyers. So one of those, we'll just get right to the point here. One of those is, George, what is the absolutely first step that you would recommend somebody take when they're thinking of buying a home? Because that's a really common question. Yes. Somebody's thinking of purchasing a home, they're probably talking it over with the family, but they just don't know what's that very first step to take.
Yeah, I think most people these days, because buying real estate, especially your first one, is such an emotional thing, right? There's such an emotional connection that naturally we all gravitate towards just wanting to go see a house. Mm-hmm. But really what we should be doing, the number one step is we got to get your money right. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is we need to find out where you're at.
Right.
Where is your credit at? Where is your income at? Mm-hmm. What can you realistically afford? Mm-hmm. Because once we know what that is, then we're starting on the right track, and then we can take a look at what is available for you based on where your money's at.
What if they think that their credit just isn't right to be talking to anybody yet, that they want to pay off certain things first? Mm-hmm. Would you recommend they do that on their own, or would you tell them to come talk to you? Or
that's a good question. And now with credit, there's so much confusion because everybody, doesn't matter who you are, you've got like your credit app, mm-hmm. and then you think your score is a 700, mm-hmm. and then you come and talk to somebody like me, and then you realize your score is not that high. Right. So there's a lot of confusion. So when you're ready to get serious, I would say we want to do a consultation.
Gotcha.
That way we know where we stand, because the residential credit report that we pull, as you know, mm-hmm. for a home loan is way different than your Credit Karma and your free credit reports and your apps. Different scoring system. So I would always say when you're serious, ready to go, we want to sit down and have a formal consultation via video or in person.
Gotcha. Okay. So even if they think their credit is not that great, still come talk to you. Maybe you can guide them in the right direction. So a lot of the times I think people will take it upon themselves to fix whatever they think is wrong, and it ends up taking way longer than it would have if they just came to an expert like yourself, right?
Absolutely, and I agree with you. And I'm a pretty simple man. I mean, I'll give you this example. Mm-hmm. I don't know jack about teeth. So I'm not going to try to figure out my teeth. I'm going to go to the dentist because that's what he went to school for.
Right.
Just like you and I, that's why we have continuing education, and we invest in learning about real estate and mortgage financing. Mm-hmm. That would be my recommendation. Go to someone that knows the trade, so that way you take the right steps and not take any shortcuts that end up hurting you or delaying.
Absolutely.
Your process.
Yeah, we actually recently had a client together that had no credit at all, mm-hmm. and she came to us and we helped her establish her credit, and within 3 months I was handing her the key to her house. So that was really cool because she followed exactly what you and your team told her. Hey, you guys need to do this, do that. 3 months later, they're homeowners. So that was really awesome to see. Cool. So let's jump into question number 2. You touched on it a little bit, but it was like getting their money right. So exactly how much money do people need in today's market to get into a home realistically?
So great question, and I will say full disclosure, because we're all about talking about the facts.
Right.
Markets change.
Mm-hmm.
So my answer right now is based on the market 2020. Mm-hmm. Right? If you talk to your uncle, your brother, your sister who bought in 2011, their opinion may differ, but that was a whole different market with whole different circumstances.
Right.
So nowadays, the reality in Washoe County is the market is hot. Competition is hot. You like the house, and so do 10 other people, which means you have to be competitive. Right. So generally, to have a good opportunity to buy a home, unless you're a veteran, like thank you for your service to all the vets, you will need no money out of pocket as far as a down payment, because the VA loan will finance you. Now, if you are not a veteran, then most people are going to need somewhere between 3.5% to 5% down. Mm-hmm. There are closing costs and things like that, but there's programs that can sometimes help you cover that. But if your expectation right now is to buy with no money out of pocket, the market just doesn't allow that at the moment. So when you see this video, don't go tell me, oh, my cousin did it and he paid $1,000. Yeah, if he bought in 2011, that was a whole different world. Mm-hmm. And that's not to say it won't happen again, but today, that's just not our reality for the moment.
Absolutely. Yeah, you just said that. So that reminded me of a client that we had as well a few years back. Mm-hmm. We actually got him into a house with no money, well, just of course the earnest money, the $1,000, right? But at the end, he ended up getting reimbursed. So he got paid to buy a house. But like you said, that was a completely different market. That's probably not very realistic today, right?
Absolutely, yeah, just way harder. Like I said, you're competing for the house you like plus 10 other people, which makes it a lot more difficult to make that a possibility of no money out of pocket. Like I said, unless you're a veteran, then yeah, that's a specialty program, or unless you buy in a rural area, because rural areas like Fernley, Yerington, Dayton, there is another specialty program that does not require a down payment.
Absolutely. So, is there like a specific program for first-time home buyers? Because that's another one that really comes up. So, do you guys have like a program where I don't need any money down because I'm a first-time home buyer? Is there anything like that?
So there is kind of, and so I'll give you this example. So USDA, no money down. And that one you don't necessarily have to be a first-time buyer. You just have to meet their income and credit requirements.
Right.
So if you go USDA, there will be no down payment out of pocket. However, there's still closing costs. So you're still going to need to come in with some sort of cash unless you get another specialty down payment assistance program on top of that. But without having that, if let's say you qualified for just a regular FHA loan, even if you did get down payment assistance, because there are two agencies, Home at Last and Nevada Rural Housing Home is Possible. So those two agencies will gift you down payment assistance. There are some requirements, but even if you get that, that will help to cover a portion of the down payment or closing costs, but it won't cover both. That's just the honest truth. It will not, unless you got a seller to pay for closing costs, and that's what's very difficult today because there's so much competition. Sellers, if they have options, they're not really going to want to give you that because they have options.
They have offers coming in, no closing cost, above asking and stuff like that. You know, I'm seeing it all the time. So we're definitely in a very competitive market. You're absolutely right. Awesome. So the last one that we really get is like, where is my credit score supposed to be at? Like, where do people have to have their credit in order to qualify for a home? Because a lot of people think that they got to have like a 780 credit score, and they need to come up with like 20% down and stuff like that. So where does their credit need to be right now?
So we'll talk about two things. So what's needed and what do I recommend, right? So what's needed, and this answer will vary from bank to bank, but with my bank, as long as you have a 600 credit score, I can find you a loan. However, a 600 credit score is a very low score. So you can't expect to have the lowest rate and the lowest fees and the best payment. That's just not the way it works, because banking is all based on risk. So if I have a low credit score, then I'm considered a higher risk, and the banks will still lend to us, but they're going to want a little bit higher rate and higher fees. So that's what you need, 600. What I recommend, and my goal with every client, is I want to try to get you to a 640. Now, to be honest, 640 is not that great either. That's just okay. But fortunately, as long as I can get somebody there, that's when you're going to get the best rates, the lowest fees, the best payment. So if you're under 640, it's okay. We know a trick or two to try to help you get up to the 620 or 640, excuse me, so you end up getting the best deal.
Awesome. So 640.
640 is where we want to get you. And you and I have had this. We've had circumstances where we approve someone, maybe they have the 620 or 615, and while they're looking for a home, we're working behind the scenes trying to get them to a 640. This way, when they find the home, bingo, now we got you the lowest deal possible.
Absolutely, yeah. You work your magic, man. I don't know how you do it with these loans, but you definitely know what you're doing. And we'll end it with the bonus here. So, George, do you think it is the right time to buy right now? I'm getting that question a lot by like every other one of my clients that's looking for a home. Do you think, Alex, it's a great time to buy? Is it a good time to buy? Should I wait? What would you advise? What is your opinion?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'll give this example. And this isn't to knock on an industry, okay? But do you ever meet somebody, and let's say you're buying a vehicle, and they say, "Hey, you got to get this. This is the best deal." It's like, well, I'm not a car guy. Like, how do I know that? Like, is it just because you're telling me it's the best deal and I should just trust you? Like, that's not how I operate, right? I want to know why. So when it comes to buying a home today, here's the truth. The market is hot. Are you getting the best, lowest price possible? No, that's just not the market we're in. Now, I recommend what I do for myself. right? So this year I did buy a property, and I know that I didn't get the lowest price possible because the market just isn't there. But anybody who is serious about buying a home, what I say to them is, as long as you feel good about your job, that you're not, in jeopardy of losing it or being laid off because of COVID or anything like that, as long as you find what you like with the numbers you feel comfortable with, then yes, then it is the time to buy. But if your income does not support today's values, then there you go. It's just not your time, unfortunately.
Absolutely. Yeah. So as long as they feel comfortable with the payment, right, is the biggest thing, because at the end of the day, history shows that real estate, due to inflation, is always going to keep going up. Sure, it goes up and down, but at the end of the day, it always comes up higher and higher and higher, right?
Absolutely.
So if you feel comfortable with that payment at the end of the day, you're still going to win if you're looking at it in the long term, because real estate is a long-term game, right?
It's a long-term game, and I think people get confused. They think, oh, I'm just going to buy this house and flip it, because we did have a portion of time, a period of time where you could do that. But that's not how real estate normally behaves. Like, one thing that I can remember is the first house I bought in 2011. I bought that as a short sale for $200,000 in South Reno. That's you ain't getting nothing for $200,000 in South Reno today, right? But at the time, the guy had a bad, risky loan that was variable, so it changed. So he was forced to sell in a bad market. I bought it for $200,000. In 2017, I sold it for $360,000, I want to say. But here's the crazy thing. So when that guy bought it, originally in 2006, he bought it at $370,000. If you look up the property right now, go ahead and look it up, 1790 Canyonlands. I want to say it's over $400,000. So to Alex's point, he's right. Had this past owner had a good loan, yes, his home went down to $200,000, and now it's doubled. He wouldn't have lost. And from 2006 to now, he would have already paid almost half of the mortgage.
Yeah, it's a long-term game, absolutely. Yeah. So to wrap it up, is it the right time to buy? It's only if numbers make sense to you. Correct. And if you're in it for the long term, it just makes sense looking at history, looking at his situation where you bought in a short sale and you sold a little bit higher at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So,
and that's why we just want to get good, safe loans, because then you're not subject to whatever's going on in the market. As long as your payment's fixed, if your value goes down, okay. I mean, that if your value goes down, so does mine, because I'm a homeowner too.
Right.
You too, right?
Absolutely.
But since our payment's fixed, we still have this building.
Exactly.
That ain't going nowhere. And if I keep paying, eventually, guess what? I won't owe anything. That's the goal.
Yeah, and rent is actually going up, at least.
Oh, yeah.
So that doesn't change.
Amazing.
Right? I mean, I had to raise the rent on some of my tenants. I didn't feel good doing it, but it's just like, we got to bring it up to market value, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, rents they're not slowing down, and I feel like Reno is, Washoe County, we're hot. People want to live here. We have a good quality of life, which is why you own here and I own here, because this is a great place to live.
Yeah. I mean, back to like, is it the right time to buy? Only you know that, right? Yeah. Only you know that, because myself, George, and I bought something around the same time, right when the pandemic hit. So
this year, 2020,
yeah. And I mean, it made sense for us. That's what we made that move. So if it makes sense for you, your family, numbers all make sense, then yeah, absolutely, you're going to get a very low rate. If the payment looks right for you and your family, it absolutely is. If you can find the right property, being it's so competitive out there right now, right?
Exactly. So. Exactly. But yeah, at the end of the day, the people buying today want to be homeowners.
Absolutely, agreed. Any other tips you might want to give first-time home buyers, or just any home buyers in general, just to wrap up this video here?
Yeah, I'll say this. How do I say this politely? Remember, I'm a simple man, right?
All right, let's hear it.
Listen to your gut. And what I mean by that is, I'll give this other example. So I have kids, and my kids are young. They're 3 years old and 5 months old. I can't go ask Alex about kids. He doesn't have kids yet, right? You can't ask me about kids either, because I've only got a 3-year-old and 4 months old. I'm still learning it, right? So if I want to learn about having kids, I'll probably reach out to my parents, your parents. They obviously did a good job with you and your siblings, right?
Hope so.
They have the history. Yeah. They know what they're talking about. So it's no different when it comes to real estate and lending. talk to the people that have the result that you are looking for. Because
Absolutely.
when you start asking for so many opinions, you're going to freeze. And I've seen this, and it's a tragedy. I've seen clients be approved, freeze because they talked to too many people, got confused, and now they're buying and paying double what they could have bought cheaper, but because they froze and got confused. I'm not saying be foolish. I'm just saying make a logical decision and listen to those that have the result that you're looking for yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's great advice, actually. And to add on to that, somebody that you trust, right? I think that's key. Somebody who's actually looking out for your best interest. Doesn't have to be us, right? If you have somebody else who you really trust and is looking out for your best interest, go with them, absolutely. But just make sure it's somebody who you trust and is genuinely looking out for your best interest at the end of the day, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, man. If you guys have any other questions or you guys are curious on any topic about first-time home buyers or just real estate in general, feel free to contact us. I hope this video was helpful, and share it with somebody who might need to hear this. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Alex Mendoza, local agent here in Northern Nevada.
Jorge Montoya, until next time.
Take care, guys. See ya.